But if there's 2, there's too much. And if there's 3, there's a triple threat. So next year, with it being a period 8 and an annual 8, well, 2 is too much. So what that tells me is that the earth changes are going to continue because mountain earth means earthquakes and volcanoes. I'm still on the U.S. Geological Service earthquake list for my days in disaster recovery. And just in the last week, we've gotten dozens of earthquake notices, and I'm only on Richter scale 5 and above. And we all know there's earth changes taking place, so it's going to continue. Now what that tells me when we think about Mother Earth is round, and so we're siphoning out the oil, and now we're taking sand, and we're basically taking her insides out, so she's suffering. And so all of us, in our initiatives in regards to environmental care, I mean, Mother Earth needs some loving. Take your shoes off, go out and touch her, roll on her, tell her you love her, be a tree hugger. Get people enrolled in environmental type issues. So the more we do of that, the more it's going to help us, because if we love her, she loves us back. So what happens next year when 8 rolls in, see right now 9 is in the center, so the formula changes. Next year 8 is in the center, so the formula changes. And as I mentioned, there's certain number combinations we look for what's going to happen. The key numbers I look for are the number 5, because in regards to construction, that's not good news. The number 2 represents sickness. The number 9 represents fire. Well, when fire is with a good energy, more goodness. But when fire is with a bad energy, we have to be careful of that. So what happens in the middle with the double 8, I had mentioned earth changes, but we need to mitigate that. So I'm going to give you some recommendations for your home. First, I want to make a very strong clarification. This is generic information. This is just based on how the year is going to play with period 8. Your home may need something entirely different. So an analysis could be a completely different remedy. I don't use the word cure. I think that presumes a lot, that we can cure things. We can influence them. So I choose to use the word remedy. So in the center of your home, and if you take your home and put it into a 3x3 grid, 2 lines this way, 2 lines this way. Now compass directions will be more specific, but in the center of your home, to mitigate the double 8, you want to use a metal remedy. That could be metal picture frames, metal vases, metal lamps, something to do with metal. The colors white, gray, anything that's metallic. That's something you can do to help your home to weather 2000's energy a little bit better, and those of you in it. Again, your home might need something totally different, but I haven't done the analysis for some of your homes. So the next area of concern, and I could get into, it's the year of the tiebreaker, the 3 killings, the Taisu, the Grand Duke, and all those kind of things, but today it will be in the article. So if you want that type of detail, the articles will be out. They're free. Most people charge for that information. We don't. Southwest. Southwest represented by the number 2. Well, next year, the 5 energy moves in there. 2-5 combination of concern. Southwest represents head females, so moms and grandmas, pregnancies, marriage, family, relationships. Southwest rules a lot of stuff. That's why in classic feng shui, we don't have a relationship corner or relationship area, because Southwest represents head female, Northwest represents head male, East represents eldest son, and so forth. So we dissect it a little more finite. So in the Southwest of your home, be kind to it, get the clutter out of there. And the remedy that you want to apply in the Southwest of your home is moving metal. Moving metal typically is a clock with a pendulum, Or a clock that the hands themselves are white or some type of metal, silver, gold, pewter, brass, okay? So if you have 2 rooms in the Southwest, use 2 moving metal. If you have 3 rooms in the Southwest, do 3 moving metal. And think of the Southwest as a silo. If you have 3 floors, it needs to be on all floors, okay? Crucial, Southwest. Next area of concern for 2010 is Northeast, because Northeast represents our youth. So what happens in the Northeast is the 2 star flies in there, and let me double check that. 2 is sickness, 8 is youth. 8 is the eldest or the youngest son. So when we have the combination of 2 and 8, 2 is earth, 8 is earth, right? Well, 1 is good, 2 is too much. So what we have to do is we have to come this way. When it goes clockwise, fire feeds earth, earth feeds metal, metal feeds water, water feeds wood, wood feeds fire. You know, when those work together in that type of cycle, that's a good thing. But when there's too much, we go the opposite way. It's called the reductive cycle. So we want to use metal. We want to go back to using more metal. So metal in the center and metal in the northeast of your house. The next area of concern is northwest. Northwest represents head male. It represents getting the support you need in the world. It represents travel. So when we think of Northwest, that's usually husbands and grandfathers, okay? So just as important as Southwest is Northwest. Well, what happens next year, Northwest is represented by the number 6, which is hard metal. Next year, what happens, the 9 star falls in there. Well, 9, whenever it's with something, can be good or not be good. Well, this combination, metal and fire, what does fire do to metal? Melts it. That is known, the 6-9 combination is known as fire at heaven's gate, because number 9 represents fire, number 6 represents heaven, heaven and hell coming together, okay? So that needs to be addressed. So when we've got the 6 and 9, what's missing there? The earth element. So think ceramics, terracotta, stones, okay, anything to do with earth. So those are things that you can take out of here and apply right away. Any questions about that? I'm trying not to overwhelm you with numbers and all that kind of stuff, but it's just, it's not an easy process. Yes?
So you're literally saying to put metal in the
center and northeast.
So on those 2 opposite corners of the house,
Mm-hmm.
metal, and then the other 2, or just the one corner so far, the stones and the terracotta.
Terracotta.
In the northwest.
In the northwest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And in the southwest, you need moving metal. Okay.
Moving metal.
Yeah. Now again, your house might need something totally different, but
Okay.
did you have a question?
Is the basement considered a level?
It is. It is. It's kind of like if you address the 3rd floor and the main floor, but you don't do the basement, then you're kind of leaving yourself open to something sliding in there.
And the attic would be a 3rd floor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you use the attic as a living space, it's just like with crawl spaces. If you're not actually living and utilizing those, because it's kind of thing, we concentrate on the areas used most. So if it's not anything that you, unless it's a really large space, but typically concentrate on living area. Okay. So when we transition from building energy and remedies, then the next layer that we take a look at is our personal energy. So I thought it'd be fun to take a look at President and Mrs. Obama's energy in 2010. Now, President Obama was born on August 4th, 1961. So what that tells me is he's hardwood, and his Chinese astrology is metal ox. Well, in an 8 Earth year, metal takes away the energy, and wood doesn't play well with earth. So that means for me, he's going to endure some Not that he's not under pressure every day, but it's going to be a year of pressure and obstacles for him. So send lots of loving light his way, include him in your prayers. However, part of the energy for him is overseas travel will produce really good rewards. So if I could get that information to him to have him do more worldwide, which, as you know, he just won the Nobel Peace Prize. So doing more in the way of philanthropic and being involved with world community would serve him really well. When we take a look at Michelle Obama, her birthday is January 17th, 1964. Now, because she's before the lunar moon that in January of that year, she actually falls into a 1963 period. So instead of being hardwood, she actually turns out to be earth. So an earth person in an earth year is probably going to do pretty well. However, her Chinese astrology is water rabbit. Water doesn't play well with earth. And the energy for rabbit is that she'll probably be misunderstood. She's in the media so much, I think people are really going to start picking at her. So again, love, light, and prayers. Yesterday, we had a Feng Shui panel, and there were 4 of us, and really most of the, was anybody in the panel yesterday, or attended the panel? Most of it, and you can concur or not, really stemmed around clutter. And I mean, we all have it. We all know that it's an issue. So again, Southwest represents head female, Northwest represents head male. Center of your home is very important to overall health and harmony. So really take a look at the piles of clutter that you have there and move them out. However, I mention that because I have a group on meetup.com, and it's called Columbus Discussion Group Feng Shui. One of the members of our meetup group is Cindy Carroll. And Cindy was recently, they did a documentary on her in regards to clutter, and it was on the Learning Channel, and I hope that it'll be repeated. The title of the show is Being Buried Alive. And so clutter is definitely a factor for Cindy, and she's obsessive compulsive, so it's kind of gotten away from her. And I think that they did an excellent job on that documentary of treating it, you know, as a disorder and being very kind with her. So, you know, if you want to be involved with the meetup group, go out and sign up for that because it's really pretty awesome, and Tammy's a member of it. So I'd like to, at this point, maybe open it up for discussions, but before we do that, I'd like to introduce you to Tammy Evans. Tammy and her dad, or not dad, Dan, her husband. Dan is the former CEO of Bob Evans Farms. And Dan and Tammy are especially inspirational for me. Dan's had some very severe health issues, and Tammy is a cancer survivor. So if you just want to maybe take a minute and
Sure. Want me to stand up there or here? Or?
wherever you're comfortable.
I'll just say, you know, a couple of things. Erica asked me if I wanted to speak today, and I so I don't have anything planned. So I don't know why she wanted me to speak, because actually I find the topic very complicated. But I have a lot of faith in Diana, and it's brought so much. We've seen so much success in our lives, and so I can't really talk about it very good, but I've known Diana, well, I've worked with Diana like at least 10 years now in our first analysis, and I was just truly amazed, and my husband's had various health, head trauma issues the last 10 years, and pretty much to the point that medical community didn't know what else to do for him. So we've seen so much improvement in him. He's off one of his medicines, and so I can talk, about that, and be glad to talk to you further if you want to stop down in the booth, and I'd be happy to talk to you by just simple things that we've done in our life, like adding the moving metal in certain areas, and as far as Dan's health, we actually moved the master bedroom in another area because his head should be facing north, and again, not just his health is just probably 80% better since when we retired. So I can just say it works and
Don't know how, but
Yeah.
it works.
so anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tammy. Nothing like putting people on the spot. It is a very complex analysis, and it's pretty phenomenal. I was really blessed when Ohio State University asked me to come in and take a look at a building that they were considering for one of their initiatives. And when I did that, did the analysis, they gave me the address, I went to the building, I ran the numbers real quickly, and then I met with the board. And I said, you know, if you move this particular function into this building, you're going to have these type of obstacles. And they're like, did you do research on this building? And I'm like, well, you gave me the address, and I came and did the analysis, and this is what the analysis says. Well, the company that built the building and who occupied the building, what I was describing is exactly what happened. And so they said, you know, we never thought about people's living space having that type of impact. So they asked me to come on faculty, and I had to be credentialed. And you can imagine an institution like OSU putting their big toe in that hot, you know, pool of woo, feng shui. And, but I was really honored, so I did get past the credentialing and was on faculty. I'm now back to being, you know, strictly a consultant to them, but I said, you know, wouldn't it be awesome, especially for a medical facility, let alone corporate office building, that if it was built from the ground up with good energy in mind, I mean, not would it be fabulous for the building, but the patients or the people working there, but even the community. I mean, it would just raise everything in regards to the community. So, you know, what we've experienced, like with Temmie and Dan, did the house down at Canal Winchester, and then they bought a home in Arizona, and I've been out there to do it. And so what happens is once you start that good momentum, it just kind of snowballs. And the more you mitigate your risk, the more you're saying, hey, you know, bring me abundance. So let's open it up for questions. Yes?
How does this relate to the 9 square bagua?
The bagua really stems on life stations.